Let's talk about some awesome crochet patterns that were released this December. Hello everyone, Rochelle here, and I'm back to share some yarn goodness with y'all today. Okay, so let's jump right in. Today we are going to talk about new and free patterns that were released this December. And these are going to be either garments, accessories, or patterns for the home. Now, as I mentioned, these are all going to be free patterns, so they will either be available as a free download or they'll be available on the designer's blog. So whichever way you want to get them. Okay, so let's start with garments. All right, up first we have the Imaginarium Cardigan, designed by Amy Gunderson for Premier Yarns. This is a beautiful, beautiful cardigan. It calls for a bulky weight yarn, and the bust circumference ranges between 40 to 72 inches. And in centimeters, that is 102 to 183. So you will need an L hook, which is a 8mm crochet hook. And as I always say, your tension, your gauge, it varies between different people, between you and the designer. So you might have to go up a hook size, or you may have to go down a hook size. So just whatever comes when you do your gauge swatch. All right, so you will need to know how to do a few skills in order to make this cardigan. You will need to know how to chain, double crochet increase, and seaming with a mattress stitch. And this cardigan, let me tell you all how it is constructed. So it is crocheted flat, bottom up, and after seaming the shoulders, the sleeves are worked directly into the armhole opening. And then the collar, which is a shawl collar, that is worked directly onto the cardigan. So that's where you see there's going to be some seaming involved with the mattress stitch, but I feel like you all can handle it. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. We have the Snowy Days sweater, designed by Liz Salazar for Premier Yarns. Okay, so this one calls for bulky weight yarn, and the bust circumference ranges between 35 to 65 inches. And in centimeters, that is 89 to 165. So you will need 2 crochet hooks for this one. You will need a 6mm J hook, and you'll need a 5mm H hook. So let's talk about the skills that you will need. You will need to know chain, single crochet, extended single crochet, magic ring, increasing and decreasing, and seaming with a whip stitch. So if you're someone that doesn't mind seaming garments together, these patterns are for you. Okay, so this sweater is worked from the top down in the round, and it has a circular yoke. So the yoke is separated for the body and the sleeves, and then the body continues in rounds to the hem. So you're going to do your body, your sleeves, you're going to go all the way down to the hem. And then the sleeves, you come back to the sleeves, and they are done in the round all the way down to the cuff. And so then lastly, you're going to add those snowflake motifs that you see on there. And basically they are worked separately, and then you seam them onto the garment. So you might see the sweater after you finish it and go, wow, I like it without the snowflakes. The snowflakes are optional, but if you want to add those, you can make them separately and then sew them onto the sweater. Let's move on to accessories. All right, the first one we have is the Quiet Morning Hood, designed by Yarn Citizen. So this one calls for DK weight yarn, and the finished size, or the total height, is 17 inches, and that's 43 centimeters. So you will need a K hook for this one, which is a 6.5mm, and you will need to know how to do back loop only, chain, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and yarn over. So this is going to be a really good pattern if you want to practice a lot of different crochet skills. So really keep this one in mind. Okay, and it is worked top down, and I really like the different textures in the hood. I think it makes a really beautiful fabric. All right, let's move on to our next one. And we have the Hearthbound Scarf, designed by Brittany Garber of Not Bad Brit. So this one calls for Aran weight yarn. And the finished size has a wingspan of 110 inches, and that is 279 centimeters. And also the depth is 9 inches or 23 centimeters. You will need a 5mm H hook for this, and you will need to know how to chain, double crochet 2 together, and double crochet 3 together. So you will need to know how to do some increasing and some decreasing there as well. So it is worked from tip to tip, and it is written for 3 colors, but of course you can customize it if you want to, but I really like the way she did it with 3 different colors. And so this would be great to use maybe some leftover yarn, maybe you have some skeins that work really well together. So yeah, really great project for that. All right, up next we have the Cowl and Beret Set, designed by Julie Likely for Circulo Yarns USA. So this one calls for worsted weight yarn, and it comes in one size. You will need an eye hook, which is a 5.5mm crochet hook, and you will need to know how to do the spike stitch, chain, half double crochet, making bobbles, double crochet, and half double crochet decrease. So the great thing about these patterns being free is that I am able to go in and look at the patterns and read the patterns. And the great thing about this pattern is the spike stitch and the bobbles are explained in the pattern. So I really like that. But of course, if there's any skills you don't know, you can check out YouTube. There's a ton of tutorials there. But I like how in the pattern, the instructions are written out. So the cowl is worked in rows horizontally, and then you join the ends to form a ring. And the beret is 10 inches in diameter at its widest point. So that's before you start decreasing the rows. Okay, let's talk about patterns for the home. All right, the first one we have is the Feather Stitch Blanket, designed by Nicole Riley of Nikki's Homemade Crafts. And this calls for worsted weight yarn, and the finished size is 7 by 9 inches or 18 by 23 centimeters. And you will need a 4.5mm crochet hook for this one. And you will need to know how to do a few skills. You will need to know how to chain, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet increase, half double crochet, the feather stitch, and back loop only. And also this pattern is worked bottom up in the round in one piece. So there's no seaming involved. So I know a lot of people don't enjoy seaming things up. So this is a really good pattern for you. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. This is the Sweet Suzette Dish Towel, designed by Jessica Underwood of Stitching Together. So this calls for worsted weight yarn, and the finished size is approximately 10.25 inches by 22 inches. And in centimeters, that is 26 by 56. So this calls for a 5mm H hook. And the skills for this one, very simple. All you need to know how to do is chain, single crochet, and double crochet. That is it. So this is a really, really good pattern for beginners or maybe advanced crocheters that just want kind of a nice, easy project to work on. And the towel has a very dense texture, so that's really good because the stitches are really tight. So that's going to be really good when you're absorbing things in the kitchen, when you're cleaning things down. So I really like that really dense fabric that this pattern has. Okay, let's jump to our next one. We have the Hefty Caramel Weighted Blanket, designed by Dana Neal for Knitty Magazine. So the yarn weight is 2 strands of worsted and 1 strand of fingering weight yarn. And when you combine those, it makes a super bulky weight yarn. So the finished size is 50 inches by 60 inches, and that's 127 by 152 centimeters. You will need an L hook, which is an 8mm, And the stitches are very simple. You just need to know how to do the caramel stitch and the single crochet. And of course, the caramel stitch is something that I've never done. Oh, you know what? Do you say caramel or caramel? Let me know which one you say. But the stitch is explained. So this blanket is great because there are neurodivergent people out there, those with ADHD, those with autism, or both, that can really benefit from a heavy blanket. It helps them to find comfort and it helps to calm them down. So maybe these are things that you're dealing with, or maybe you have a friend or a family member that you can gift this to, but weighted blankets really can help a lot of people. So definitely consider making this one. Okay, I did want to share what I am wearing. This is the Raspberry Beret designed by Little John Yarn. Now, I made an entire YouTube video about this beret, and I'll leave my Ravelry link below, which has my video link in it as well. So, what are some new and exciting crochet patterns that you found during the month of December? Share with the class. I would love to know. Also, let me know if you would like to make any of these projects. If so, which ones? Definitely let me know down in the comments. And also, because I knit and I crochet, keep an eye out for my December roundup for knitting. It is coming soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. All right, y'all, let me know what you worked on while watching, or did you just chill? I would love to know, and I love reading you all's comments. Also, feel free to click that notification bell and that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, consider subscribing. I am trying to reach 12,000 subscribers. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. And share with a friend, share with family. I would really appreciate that. All right, that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.